What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916 getting down fresh out. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the channel. You know how we do it. Go to fresh.series.com, pick you up some merch. I'm here with my man Johnny Mitchell, and we kicking the shit, man, telling some stories. And this man's got some incredible stories. Johnny, going to prison, man. Everybody's always like, oh, man, prison this, prison that. You see all this shit. Some dudes, they talk about they were Superman in there, but they're in a dorm. I'm like, dude, you weren't doing shit. You was in a damn dorm. You weren't doing, if you're in a dorm, do it all your time in a dorm, bro. You weren't riding on nobody.
No.
But from what you've seen in prison, how much of the shit do you think you see on the internet is bullshit? And what is some shit you've seen, or what's something you experienced that's some real shit? Because like I tell people, tattoos, the hard look, a lot of times you get out of prison, people can say all type of shit, but you come to find out that guy was in church. You know what I mean?
Nah.
I see some guys hiding out in church. He come out of prison, oh man, he was a gangster.
Yeah.
Bible gangster.
Yeah. He wasn't on the yard when it was popping off.
No.
He was hiding out during the riot.
Exactly. He was in mass.
Yeah. I was locked down. I was in solitary when the riot kicked off at Two Rivers. Which is where I was at, Two Rivers Correctional Facility. I was in solitary for fighting. So, I really was up, man. I was fighting all the time. The realest shit, I was celled up with the shot caller for the whites, for the white car, which in Oregon state prisons, that's not the Aryan Brotherhood, the big one that runs California, right? It's the Hells Angels. So, little shit, bringing balloons here and there, carrying knives every now and then for the guy, right? That was the kind of work that I had to do, but I didn't have to click up, I didn't have to roll with a car because I was celled up with, the guy. So he kind of looked after me.
Now, there are a lot of politics in the Oregon State prisons, like in California, because California, white dude cannot talk to a black guy cannot be over here kicking it with this, this particular Mexican group, or it's very political, very gang orientated.
It's not as much in Oregon. It's not as much.
Okay.
You can generally, everybody, it's segregated just like everywhere, but if you have to do business with somebody, especially over some drugs or, tobacco or whatever it is, like you don't just sell to like the black guys. You got tobacco, we're gonna sell it to everybody. So it's not as dogmatic up there as it is in California, thank God.
Okay.
Most of the people that got stabbed when I was down, it was over drug debt.
Yeah.
And it's usually people within their own race,
Kind of checking their own.
Yeah.
And now is it the same thing? Like I know in the feds they always tell you, man, leave the gambling alone, leave the drugs alone, and don't mess with the homosexuals. Mm-hmm. Because I don't care how tough you are, and if you think you're the man, if you were messing with a homosexual at another institution, you ain't got no respect. Is it the same in Oregon?
Dude, a lot of the white guys, in particular at the prison I was at, bro, they were like battling over who the trans person was gonna suck off that.
Oh,
but they were hoeing her out, like that was like a business.
So they were pimping the trans.
They were pimping the trans woman out. Yeah, they were pimping her out. Yeah. That's what I mean.
Shit.
So they were getting money out of her, but that was also protection too. You know what I mean? Like they were making sure that nobody fucked with her. So I don't know, man. Those lines are blurry.
See, like in the feds, say for instance, they're like, "Hey, Big Herc, so and so, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I seen you talk to. They used to mess with on the other yard. They had a boyfriend." I'm like, "What?" Yeah, and, I thought I'd just give you a heads up, homie. And so now they're watching you. If you continue to spread and kick it, oh, okay, you down with that type of business. And you're not looked at the same, so it's definitely looked at differently. I know in some of the states it's different, but like, I can recall a white dude, he was a big swole dude, and I've told this story before on my channel, and, beast and been down like, quite like, over a decade, and was shot calling for the white dudes on the yard. And this Native American, I don't know what the proper word were used, but, I guess homosexuals showed up on the yard, And he like came running up to the ward. No, and they had a big thing. Everybody was tripping on like, what the, and they're like, oh, can you put him in my cell? Blah blah blah, and that. And all the guards were like, oh, and they put this dude in the cell, and then the white dude was like, hey, we know you're a G, blah blah blah, but you gotta step down. You can't rep. We're not programming with you no more. We're cool. We're done with you.
And then what does that look like? Like you gotta get off the yard.
He was kind of on beast mode, so they didn't really roll him up, but he kind of went and did his own thing now. And
so then the car kicked him out.
Yeah, he was done. He couldn't work out. Wasn't kicking it. Him and a little. Kind of little Native American did their thing and he busting their cheeks at night.
That's wild. Imagine that. The biggest, hardest dude is really sweet. He got some sugar in the tank.
Nobody knew until this one showed up, and it was like, what? What?
Yeah. That's wild.
Game changer.
He was a Mexican, man. He probably would have got carved up, you know?
Yeah, he would have. I mean, I can recall at another institution I was at, and there was the dude, he was big dude, black dude, lifting all the weights on the yard, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't really know what was what, but I know something happened, and this dude came out of the chow hall and said, hey, man, take me to the hole. They escorted him, and, dude, they went through and ransacked the dude's locker, took everything. I mean, when in the feds, if you could be all good one day, somebody show up and say, oh, man, he was hiding out when he was the riot, or he blah, 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 or he was messing with, dude, instantly your whatever you did to be a gangster is thrown out the window.
Yeah, because it follows you everywhere.
You can't run from it. I tell people all the time, like, I've been doing this for like, over 11, over 10 years, almost 11 years now, and if I would have been anything but what I am, and somebody it'd been exposed, bro. You cannot run from what you were doing in the pen.
No.
If you were busting cheeks because you said, "Oh, I'm gay," what is it, gay for the stay? Dude, that ain't. I know dudes doing life. They wasn't busting no man cheeks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when the bus shows up in prison, on Tuesdays, Thursdays, whatever it is, and 30 men get out. By the end of the month, if you're really in a prison, one or two of those dudes is going to be stabbed and life flighted out because paperwork's going to get checked, and they're just going to find you out.
Yeah.
That's what happened at Two Rivers, Like when the bus was coming, we knew something, we were probably getting locked down that month.
Now, what is the no-nos in the Oregon prison? Because there's certain no-nos I know, like in the feds, if somebody finds out your paperwork, dude, you're done.
Yeah.
You can, oh man, but as soon as they check that paperwork, I know in there, if they find out you did anything, if somebody finds out you did something with kids, and you knew and didn't tell, you didn't handle it, and somebody else finds out and you knew, you're getting handled too.
Yeah, exactly. I almost had to do that. I almost had to handle a fool the day I got in. And because somehow he had made it onto the main line. Somehow, these guys slip through the cracks, right? They should all be, people with sex jackets, sex beefs. Usually they're just immediately, like California, they're immediately sent to their own yard, right? Somehow he'd made it just into general population. And I got celled up with him. Like the day I arrived, this dude was in there. But the guy, I don't know, man. Like I walked in there, and he knew it was like my first time in prison. And he was like, I'm about to go to the hole for you, so you don't have to fucking do anything to me. And he sticks his head out of the cell, and he's like, this guy's threatening me. I feel scared for my life. And the CO walks up, and the cop looks at me, this skinny fucking kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, this guy's threatening you? He's like, I can't stay in here with him. And he goes, all right, turn around. He cuffs him up, takes him to the hole. So what he did was he showed the entire cell block. He was like, this kid Mitchell, he's really about that. He's about that mess. So he did me, and secondly, I didn't have to fucking beat this dude to death, right? So that guy really
yeah, because they would have found out.
He did me a favor.
That you knew in the paperwork, and you didn't, that would have been on you.
Exactly. And now I didn't know. When I walked in, I didn't know. He's the one who told me, and then immediately took himself out. So, yeah.
So they don't play that in there.
But they don't play that. Yeah, they don't play that. Now, I will say that the blacks tended to tolerate that a little more. I don't know why. And I don't know if that's just Oregon. Maybe it's because they need the numbers. So if you got a big dude that's built like you're an asset. And, if you got, an R on your jacket, but it's like something they can accept, they might let you live on the main line. I don't know why black people. I don't know why specifically. They just seemed to tolerate that a little more. What they didn't tolerate was gay shit.
But they would tolerate the rape shit.
In certain instances. And again, because I think in Oregon, there's just less black people, so they need numbers, right?
But no gay shit.
No gay shit. But the white guys, low-key, would tolerate that gay shit. They'd be involved in that gay shit, you know? Because, white boys, traditionally, we always like to, make dick-sucking jokes with our friends growing up. Black people are just coming around to how funny gay jokes are and how funny fart jokes are.
You know what they call that and why they call it sex play? If you
sex play. Don't sex play.
Don't sex play me, man.
Every black dude, like I would just be messing around. We'd be joking. I'd tell them, fuck, I'd make a gay joke, right? Like I would be doing on the streets, and they would just they'd just be like, yo, don't sex play me.
Yeah, like, that's like serious shit.
Yeah.
It's serious shit. I mean, it's just like you never walk to the shower with your towel around your ass. I tell dudes, you make sure you have your pants on, have your shirt on, have your boots on, and then put your shower shoes on. But if somebody sees you sashaying around with your towel on, or you come from the shower and you stop at somebody's sale and got your dude, you're advertising. You know what I mean? Or somebody's testing to see if you're playable.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of little tricks of the trade, man, so you got to know what's going on. But yeah.
You'd have to be out of your mind in the feds to go to the shower with a towel around your waist, bro. I'm assuming there's war every time I go to the shower. In a place like Lompoc.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm going to have my steel on me, or I'm going to have a guy watching my back, like a bodyguard walking with me, Like...
Yeah, you got to definitely pay attention. I mean, I was at the USP in 2000, and I remember this one dude came through there. Oh man, he was crazy. He's a Crip dude. Talking loud, like super crap. I'm like, damn, this dude. He's from out of state. I said he ain't from California. Oh, he's gonna get it. He ain't gonna last. I said I give him like a week or two. About 3-4 days, bro. They got him up in one there, had a Crip meeting, man. They beat the brakes off this dude, man. They don't play. I mean, you cannot come in there like no superhero with that bullshit, or if you, like I said, if you walk through there and you're advertised, there's so many predators, and there's some people who have already accepted that this is them because they got crazy time. If you talk to somebody who got 2 lives plus 100 years, what the hell did he do?
Yeah. Did you know Unique? He goes by Unique.
Yeah,
Waynesworth Hall. He was at Lompoc in the early 2000s.
I think he might have got there right after I got there, because I left in 2002.
Yeah, he got there in 2000, around then.
Yeah.
2002, 2003.
I got there in 2002. And see, the thing about Lompoc, what's crazy was I've interviewed and talked to people that I was there with, and we never said a word. Because in Lompoc, you don't talk to people. See, the pen is so, I don't know how it is in Twin Rivers, but in Lompoc, dude, you don't make eye contact. You don't nod your head. You just mind your business.
Oh, you only associate with your car.
That's it.
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody you met that you're cool at the barbershop or law library.
Right.
Certain things, but
away from the day room and the
yes,
and the yard.
You're not like people are like, oh, do you know so and so? I said, dude, I wasn't really trying to. You're not trying to make too many friends there because you don't know what kind of shit you're gonna get pulled in or what kind of shit they're into. And that place, you never see nobody leave. Nobody paroled from there.
Nobody.
Never.
No.
Never. The average, the short timers there, you had a decade, and then you might get sent to a medium.
Yeah.
But nobody paroled from Lompoc,
no.
USP.
No.
So it was a totally different environment, man. It was no joke, man.
He said the water was so bad. You know anything about this?
He said dude, it's brown.
Yeah, the brown water.
Water
would create like welts on your skin.
Yeah, there's brown water, and then the guards there. When I was there, they called them the cowboys, and they had a crew, and the warden, they would bail through there like gangsters, bro. And if you somehow got caught up or out of pocket, they had a thing they would hog tie you. Hog tie you, they take like almost a broomstick, and basically like tie a hog and have you like this, and have your legs up there, and they carry you on that thing, butt naked. Throw you in the hole.
Wow, and that was like the super unit. That was like
that was on the compound. If you were out, if you somehow something happened, but they, people would say, "Oh man, the dude got hogtied," and they would take him and whisk him out the unit. You don't even know what happened. I mean, there was a guy there. and we were talking some stuff, and he seemed like he's pretty cool. I didn't think he was crazy. He was into the law library a little bit, and then this next thing I know, I said, "Oh, dude went to the hole. He hung himself." I'm like, "What the? Hung himself?" He didn't seem like he was in. Wow, that's crazy, man. And that's when I was like, dude, anything could happen here. You don't have an answer for it.
Yeah.
Shit just happens.
Yeah, yeah. That's weird, man. That's changed because back in the day, the feds were really run by the inmates. Like if you ever hogtied like a real gangster like that, I mean, some guards getting stabbed.
Well, the thing is at Lompoc, I guess they knew who they could and couldn't do it because before I got there was the guy who came out the kitchen. And they said he just said, this is it. He had a knife taped to this hand, a knife taped to this hand, and just was stabbing guards.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Killed the guard.
That's wild.
And they had to shoot him.
Shot him, right?
The knife, it was strapped up like he had him. That was he was like this.
Yeah.
It was all out.
Yeah, he said kamikaze.
Kamikaze, bro.
Yeah.
Kamikaze. So it was definitely a different environment, and you learned a lot about people and value of life. And interaction. What do you there's a lot of shit coming up back about Epstein. What do you think about somebody in prison hanging themselves in a suicide watch cell?
Well, Herc, I thought we were trying to build the numbers back up. This is not a way to get your channel unshadow banned. I was trying to stay away from the, I mean, damn, I really haven't been paying attention to it, to be honest with you. I know I keep seeing like the new videos and my feed resurface, but I got off Twitter and I try not to give a shit about the things that I cannot control. It is preposterous. It's pretty absurd. I'm reading a book right now by Whitney Webb.
Oh, she's good,
she's
man.
Great, right?
Whitney Webb is a great researcher, journalist.
She was just on Valuetainment.
Yep. I just watched her.
She wrote a book. I'm reading the book right now, One Nation Under Blackmail.
Yeah.
And it's about how sex blackmail has been used basically for over a century in American politics. And so we're leading up to, now I'm in like the 60s, and just the web of collusion between like the intelligence agencies and politicians and big business, it's tied together. And, they're getting into Ghislaine Maxwell with Robert Maxwell now, and how he's going to tie in with Epstein pretty soon. Like he's going to come into play. So it's fascinating. And I think like the more people understand the CIA and the Mossad, and these are just intelligence services. These are what people call the deep state. That's what they mean essentially. They mean these shadowy governmental organizations that all they do is collect information, and they're an ungovernable body, that doesn't really have to obey any law. And if you study the history of what they've done all over the world when it comes to election meddling, overthrowing elected officials, murder, what happened to Jeffrey Epstein and what happened with Russiagate, was that where they tried to paint Trump as a Russian spy? And that's all come out now. Yeah. The mainstream media even has to acknowledge that was all, I don't want to say a hoax. It was misinformation. It has the CIA's fingerprints all over it because they've done that. They did it in the 80s all over Latin America.
Have you ever read the book Economic Hitman?
No, I've got to read it though. I've heard of it.
Economic Hitman. That's what he does. He goes and destabilizes governments and basically gets them involved in financial situations they can't get out of.
Right.
And then like you said, in order to pay off, you got to let this guy. He's going to run for president now, and they put him in office.
Exactly.
And then it's like, it's a deep game, and the average person has no clue on as far as how this game really operates at the next level.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no law at a certain level of government. The laws become just a thing that you figure out how to sidestep.
Yeah.
And so I just bring that up. If you go study what happened to Nixon and Watergate, after Nixon steps down, and Nixon was no great guy. He bombed 2 million Cambodians he killed, right?
Yeah.
And lied about that, during the Vietnam War. But he goes, there's deeper forces at play here. And he's talking about the CIA. They set the Watergate scandal up. And if you go study it, who was in charge of the CIA at that time? It was George Bush. And Nixon kind of fucked them over a decade ago in the 60s when George Bush was trying to run for president. Because they were both Republicans, and whatever, Nixon didn't keep his word, or they felt like he had backstabbed him. So they'd always had it out for him.
So they waited for the right time and basically came back.
Exactly. So, and with Trump, you see that big time with the way that the mainstream media and the intelligence services, right, the former heads of the Pentagon, former heads of, these military branches, just the collusion, they all got in lockstep with the narrative. I mean, it's actually really nothing spectacular. It's just it's a method of, character defamation and propaganda that's perfected over, generations.
Do you see any way of them cleaning any of that up? I mean, I don't see it.
No, I don't. I actually don't. I don't know where we go from here. I don't think the people have an appetite for what happened in 2016 with, Trump running again. I don't think people want that really. And they certainly can't have a repeat of Biden. I think the people are exhausted and they're putting their hands up. And I think you'll see America over, and it's not going to happen overnight like anything, but you'll just see us moving more and more towards probably like autocracy, authoritarianism, because people, when they're checked out, that just gives the powers that be more ability to go in and do whatever they want. I could be wrong though.
Yeah.
What the fuck do I know?
Yeah.
Just a clown, professional clown. That's what a comedian is.
Yeah. Well, they watch our channel.
Yeah, for sure. I know the DEA is watching my channel. I have a buddy of mine, his good friend works for the DEA. He showed him my show and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're monitoring it."
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah.
I feel,
Shout out to you, DEA. Deep State.
I ain't doing nothing.
We ain't doing nothing. We're just
talking.
The
DEA is not the deep state.
No, but
the DEA, even though they're fighting a futile battle that is the war on drugs, the DEA has been undermined by the CIA when it comes to trying to stop drug trafficking. That goes back to Rick Ross. The DEA in good faith was trying to stop crack cocaine. Rick Ross was dealing drugs for drug dealers who were being protected by the CIA. He was unwittingly a CIA asset.
I remember that. But I don't know if you watched our channel, though. We interviewed Larry Pollock. And the DEA went down there, and he got raided in Mexico down off of Baja and was left to the Mexican Federales, which at night became the cartel.
The cartel, right.
And they was tortured. So he was left in their hands. So when he finally escaped and ran and made it got to the border, they're like, "Oh, man, we thought you were dead." And he was telling a story to the FBI, and they snatched him up.
Yeah.
And said, "You're going to take this deal,
yeah,
or else."
I'm not saying they're not dirty and they don't use, tactics like that, like threaten. But those are the laws.
Yeah.
They use the laws to break people.
Yeah.
But they're at least following the law. I'm saying like the CIA, their informants were there when they killed that DEA agent, Kiki Camareno. They knew about it and they covered it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they're not, that's my point, is like they're not following any kind of law.
It's crazy, man. I mean, this shit, like you said, the rabbit hole goes so deep, man. It's just...
So deep.
Yeah. Big Hurt 916, Johnny Mitchell, fresh out. You tired of smelling like stanky butt, funky armpits? Wash your ass. Go to freshoutseries.com and pick you up a bar of soap.